Hey, some of you have been asking questions, what's under the hood in Roam Agile, so I just want to show you around that you know where to look for pieces of solutions. If you click on Roam Agile here in the shortcuts, then you find all the different components that I'm using. The CSS is quite straightforward and nothing really special. In status, I have a query selector that selects on the namespace at the beginning of the tag and formats based on that. And I have my sentiment tags where I set the length of the tag to a fixed width and add an emoji in front of the tag to represent the sentiment. Then the Roam.js scripts, I have two scripts from David Vargas. One is the charts and the other is tag cycle. In tag cycle, you can use Alt-1 to cycle through the different statuses. In practice, you don't really need this because the scripts take care of all of this. But at first I did import it and tried it. I have Roam42. I have a sentiment analysis script that I built based on an affinity database I found online. So you can find that here. And I have my datomic query common functions that I'll show you how I used it for developing the scripts in a moment. And then under Roam Agile, I have it's really not, so it's a minimum valuable product. It would require a bit of refactoring to look good. But what I have here are a set of constants that I use in the queries, and this adds you a little bit of flexibility. So if you don't like that stories are in the story namespace, you can change it here and then it will start to work. And then I have a whole bunch of functions here, and each of the functions work very similar. So I have a data log query that stitches together the pattern that I'm looking for, and then I execute that query. Sometimes I sort or do some other post-processing on the query. And then going back to Roam Agile, I have my Roam Agile templates, and I have a whole long list of those. So I have my algorithms of thoughts up here that I published earlier, and so these are fairly simple smart blocks that you can take a look at. So if you open these up, then you find the actual smart block here. And they are simple scripts. And if I come back, then these are down here are the specific smart blocks used in Roam Agile that have all the special logic. On the Roam templates, these are the native Roam templates, and I have 4 of them for user stories, sprint, for the choice, AOT, and for persona. And for the rest, I have these smart blocks. And so, for example, if I want to look at one of these smart blocks, let's say I want to look at close sprint, how that works. Let me open up a sprint, because this does require a sprint page to work. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to copy this script from here like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the daily notes page in the right hand side pane, and I'm just going to come to the bottom of that right here. And what I'm going to do here is I start the Datomic Advanced Template, and this is how I developed pretty much all of the scripts. This was the logic or the technique I used. So I open up my Datomic Query template. This comes in with this template query, and then I stitch together my query here, and here I need a UID from the sprint page, so maybe I'll copy this block reference, and instead of the UID I'm just going to hard code this UID here. And of course now that I changed the name of these variables, I need to change the variables here as well, and if I click update results, then I should get the outcome of this query. And when I'm happy with this query, then I move on and I pick up the next query, etc. And this is how these scripts were born. And you can see it here as well, that these are queries one under the other that I built up like this, and at each step I could check the output of the query. These queries typically build on one another, and when I was happy, then I moved it into a smart block, and if it was required, I added some limited post-processing to make the query fully functional, but that was the logic how I worked these. And I think that's pretty much it. So if you want to look around, feel free to pick and choose whichever part you like from the script, and I hope you find this under the hood introduction helpful as well. Thank you.